I'm Steve Klein, and these are my reflections on the Summerhill book and the philosophies, and kind of describe some of those things and go through and talk about comparisons with our education system and those types of things as well. And I've got a list of notes here, so I might be referencing that to look down a little bit and see, just to kind of go through some things. First, I'll cover the philosophy, kind of what I got from the book and some of the things that they talked about, how the school is ran and all those types of things. Something in terms of philosophy wise, their philosophy to me was to allow freedom for the individual, with each child being able to take their own path uh, and follow their own interests. It's very much a democratic society or community in terms of there's a lot of freedom. Some of the reasons that they use those types of things because they feel it's a much better way to get better inner self confidence. They feel that their students are accept themselves much better as individuals, and they feel that they end up being free from anxieties of the outside world. Um, uh, just from reading and looking up things and seeing, uh, reading different things, this school is very much different from what uh, education is in the United States. Um, it's quite crazy to think that you would essentially just allow students to do whatever it is that they want. It essentially is for them. It's unlimited playtime the way I understood it, and they feel again it's good for their physical and mental health. It allows them to develop at their own pace and achieve the results that they want. They get to do the things that they want to do. They get to study the things that they want to study. They feel that it makes them much more self-responsible, which is one of the things that I took away um, from the book and just from the information that I've read. In that, it's one of the things that I really like about it is that it does give them a sense of self responsibility, which I don't think in today's world we give any responsibility to our youth. I think they're allowed to just kind of do whatever they want. They can get away with whatever they want, and this isn't everybody, but I don't think the self responsibility piece is a big part of our education system. We do not hold students responsible for their own learning, and that's essentially what this system does. Is it gives them an opportunity to hold themselves responsible for what they learn and what they want to learn. That's one of the areas that I really like about Summerhill was the sense of responsibility and you being in charge of what you want to learn. Um, and as I look at all of these things that are part of this, I I could see some of my students being successful in this. I got some students that maybe are not as engaged in my class simply because they don't want to be there. It's not something that excites them. It's not something that interests them. This school would be really good for them because they would be able to find whatever it is that interests them and learn about it. Um, some of the students that I think about, that I think about would really work well would be kids who are maybe they're not a 4-year college type kid. Maybe they're more of a technical skills type person, and uh, they're able to use their hands-on skills to create things. I think of kids who were absolutely horrible in school in terms of grade-wise um, or behavior for that matter, and they were able to be much more successful once they left the school system because they were able to do things that they were interested in. For example, I know of two of my former students that that are construction workers. those types of business, or they work on cars. They're those types of things. And not every student is designed to go to a 4-year college. And I think that's one area where I think we're getting better at in the United States. I still think we're trying to push everybody to go to a 4-year school, and that's just not for everybody. There's a good handful of students who, schools like Milford, where they go to Southeast Community College and they learn those types of skills to get a really good job. It's a very good paying job. They're able to take care of their families, and some of the things that we force on our students in terms of the things that they have to learn in school. I mean, the question I wrote down on one thing is, do they really need to take some of the things that we have them take in high school or college for that matter? I mean, if a student isn't interested in some of these things, do they really need to have it? I can think back to myself. When I think back to my college classes that I had to take, and where I had to take some general ed classes, I took an art class and I took a music class, which are two things that I never use. So the one thing where I think this school would be very good is for students who maybe aren't as motivated, and they don't really have the fire to succeed in some of these classes that don't interest them. That's one of the things that I think is really good about the school. I'd be very interested to see the school. I'd love to visit the school and see kind of, they talk about the meeting that they have every day, and how everybody gets to have input. And if you don't want to have input and you don't want to be real social, you don't have to, and nothing is forced on anybody. And I'd like to see that interaction. And I tried to look for some videos, and I noticed there are some out there. I didn't get a look to all of them, but it'd be really kind of nice to see the video of the meeting and see how the interaction works between adults and students, and how they decide. I know one case that I put about in my paper was there was a visitor to Summerhill, and she noticed that, let's see if I can find it here, she was able to sit in on a meeting, and she felt that they were the students that were on the board and that were making decisions were harder than adults would be, which I thought was quite interesting in terms of discipline and all those types of things. The one case she had said where one student had left the school and went to town and done some damage to the town, and how the student had apologized at the meeting, said he wouldn't do it again, but they punished him and said that he couldn't go to town for 3 weeks. So I was quite surprised by that in that element. A couple of last parts that I think are really that kind of tie into our schools that I kind of wish they would use. I kind of wish they would kind of blend our schools with Summerhill a little bit, and use some of their concepts, but not everything. I like the idea of giving student choices in what they want to learn. You give them, for example, I've been trying this in my classroom a little bit with my iPad Academy. And, okay, we have a topic. You have 3 choices to learn this. You can watch a video that I've created. You can have a little 15-minute session with me where we go through and we kind of talk about the lesson, or you can look stuff up on your own and try and figure it out on your own. Where you give them a little bit more choice to be able to make decisions on whatever it is that they want to learn. I like that idea of it. It also teaches them self-responsibility and being in charge of their own learning. Again, like I said before, another concept that I don't think we do a very good job of in our education. So this kind of concludes my thoughts on Summerhill, and I'm interested to look at and listen to everybody else's thoughts, and I'm interested to listen to the comments you have in response.